Coming to you from our opulent and luxurious 4x8 refurbished room closet at the national headquarters in Indianapolis. With duct tape, studio lights, and a mic that you barely can hear, we hope to entertain and educate you. This is the Tango Alpha Lima podcast.
They call me crazy cause I'm facing all my giants. They try to scare me into thinking I can fight it. They tell me I should never even think of trying. But that's just me, I'm gonna live out in defiance.
Hello, and welcome back to the Tango Alpha Lima podcast. Ashley, I gotta tell you, I like the little machine gun thing. We need to start it that way every time. That was money. And I'm joined as always, Ashley Gorbolja Maldonado and Jeff Michigan Man Daly. Always good to have you guys on. It's like we haven't done this in the last 5 minutes. Don't want to ruin the surprise for you at home, but sometimes we record more than one a day. Don't tell anyone else that we're cramming it all in because we are going to charge the company by the podcast and not by the minute. So actually, maybe that's the wrong idea. When we usually aim for a 20-minute podcast, we end up with an hour and 15 minutes. So maybe we do continue to charge by the minute. Is that what you think?
I mean, right, and since we did 2 in a row, that's why I wear plain black T-shirts, so people don't know that. I did wear like an Under Armour style shirt today because
fancy. It's
like 95 degrees here in Indianapolis, and this studio does not have air conditioning. So we had talked about Olaf from Frozen. I am going to be the melting Olaf here in about 20 more minutes. So we hope we've got a good show for you today. A lot going on in the big world. But first, let's check in with the hosts. Jeff, what's going on out there in LA? Everything's still there? Burned to the ground?
Everything's here. Everything's here. I'm in no danger of leaving the bunker anytime soon because right now we're not locked in. There's just nowhere's open for us to go. And we're on the verge of being told not to go to those places that we're not allowed to go. So I'm going to keep the bunker motif happening for a little bit while longer. Yeah,
I did see that the mayor / fellow post member of yours was considering a complete lockdown. That's a lot of people not going anywhere, isn't it?
It is. It's gonna. I hope we can avoid it, but it looks like we're on a crash course.
Yep. Ashley, what's up with you lately?
Womp womp. That's my first thought. The Jeff situation. Well, I'm over in DC, right? And being in the heart of the capital, I feel exactly the same way. Like I can't, there's not a whole lot of places I can go. I've been working from home since March. So has my significant other, my husband, right? And we both have just been working. Hey, are we playing Ashley Bingo today? Can we I think our listeners need to we should do that. Participation Ashley Bingo. We should do that. Fun engagement. Well, just saying. I already saw him put one finger up.
Hubby might as well be a free space because there's zero chance that it's not getting mentioned at some point.
Yes. Oh my goodness. But overall, I'm okay. I'm good. I'm checking in with myself. I'm being realistic with my goals. I'm not probably as productive, but it's a different type of productive. And every day I'm checking in with both my mental health and just my emotional health too. So, for all the listeners out there, be cognizant of that. Check in with yourself and check in with others. So yeah, that's my message abroad.
Jeff, if you check in with yourself, you'll probably be as terrified as the rest of us at what you see.
Don't look too deep. We can't have you not being able to turn around.
The heart of darkness that is Jeff's.
I don't even use the mirror when I brush my teeth. I turn away. So I don't want to get too deep accidentally.
No,
no. So you're gonna turn yourself into stone or something.
Right.
That would be pretty incredible if you hypnotized yourself looking in a mirror. That would be spectacular.
Right? Like I hypnotize you two.
Yeah. Oh, you sure do.
Always.
Actually, you want to see me put Jeff to sleep? Let's start talking about my Lord of the Rings character.
Yes, let's do it. We'll do a laundry list of things to drive Jeff Daily Crazy.
If anyone out there,
it'll be our daily snooze list. How we can get Jeff to fall asleep.
If anyone out there
every day,
I'm down.
If anyone out there does play Lord of the Rings online, I'm telling you, the last 5 days it's been down. The whole system has been down, and my life has been thrown into utter turmoil. And I sit at home and I just yell at my computer like I have Tourette's. It is the worst possible thing when you have a Saturday, Sunday, and you can't play the computer game that you've been looking forward to all week. And with that segue, we're going to go to story number 1 with Ashley, dealing with a very similar subject. And Ashley, if you could show us the weapon of war of choice of your hubby. Show it. For those of you who are on YouTube, you will see the most ginormous joystick I've ever seen.
So not only is there a joystick, but there is also a second component that is kind of, it looks like a throttle, like it's like if you're gonna like push it forward, backwards, just like a simple and a lever, right? And my husband will do the VR, and I've walked in on him recently, and it's such a bizarre contraption. But he's been playing this space game, which is ironic because we keep talking about Space Force, and I think my husband's gonna try and like jump over to Space Force recruiting, which I don't blame him. I think that'd be a cool gig, right? But we're gonna get into a little bit of some video games. So some interesting things have surfaced in the world of esports. I am not myself a consumer of video games. I'm typically that like individual in the background, like watching, asking questions, or enjoying the story play of video games. So the Army esports is, so this article was put out, and I just want to put this out there. It's a little bizarre. I think it's a little bit crazy, and we'll open it up. But overall synopsis: the Army esports team denies accusation of violating First Amendment, offering fake giveaways. So for those who don't know, esports started in about 2018. It was well received by the public. Some of the games that they're playing are like Call of Duty, Counter-Strike, Global Offense, Fortnite, Magic the Gathering, and they're basically, recruiters who are on these platforms that are, telling individuals about their experiences and their variants of experiences, kind of debunking some of the myths that some of the video games overly portray as what some kids may think is accurate, which is not, right? And basically on June 30th, the official Army esports reported to an announcement by chat platform Discord of a text emojicon, something like that. I don't know. It's like, so these emoticons. Thank you. Gosh, so disappointed.
I even know that, and I'm
emoticon. Can I just have a moment? Do I get a freebie? Is there an emoticon for that? Like, is there a thumbs up? Like, again, not a consumer, but I do incorporate a lot of emojis into my daily text and computer emails. Anyway, that's besides the point. I digress. So essentially, the whole thing came back around. Followers were lashing out against the tweet, calling Discord this pro-war, referencing incidences, and there was just a lot of backlash on Twitter, basically saying that the Army and National Guard, etc., whoever, all of the above, were creating these like promos and giveaways, and it was just to solicit information, and there was no prizes. Total nonsense. Like, I've read into this. I looked into some of these offerings that they're having. They give away headsets, and there's a disclaimer. And some people have obviously they just don't like it because they're like, well, why are they trying to recruit like 13-year-old kids? Like, recruiters can't talk to anyone under the age of 16. Okay, so if like they're playing video games and they're talking nonsense, it's kind of crazy too, because it gets into that First Amendment, like when people are like trolling.
Yeah, this is where it gets banana. The craziest thing was to me is that for those who don't consume these, it's basically a bunch of Army guys sitting around playing a computer game, right? I mean, they're just playing, and you can see them. And at the same time, there's people out there who can contact and ask them questions while they're playing games. Well, what has happened is all these people are on there, and it's like, why do you commit so many war atrocities, and why are you slaughtering civilians? And we're talking about like maybe a PFC that was born, 19 years
Yesterday.
ago that couldn't spell Abu Ghraib if he had it sitting in front of him, and they're asking him all these hardcore questions. And again, it's like a PFC. It's like, why would you go after that? And so the Army, I think correctly decided, like, look, you know, don't waste your time responding to all these knuckleheads. Just block them, which is what every other human being on the planet does. Like, if someone's giving you trouble on your Facebook page, you don't interact with them on each occasion. You finally just be like, all right, dude, you're gone, and then you cut them off. So the Army guys that are playing these esports blocked them. Well, the ACLU is now convinced that this is a First Amendment issue, which I think is just spectacular, because I'm sure at some point, you know, George Mason and Alexander Hamilton, when they were writing the Constitution, were sitting around and being like, do you think we need to put in that part about, you know, when you're playing esports and you're an Army recruiter, should we allow them to block people? Come on, this is the craziest thing I have ever heard, but this story is taking on a life of its own. Jeff, you're big into these.
I mean, if there's not a sport starting with E, I'm not playing it. I think that ESPN should be covering this because they're sorely lacking in quality content. That First Amendment thing really bugs me, because I'm finding, just peppered throughout our society, people don't really know what it means. You know, the government isn't squelching anybody's freedom of expression, by the way, is what it actually is. Yeah. Nobody's squelching their freedom of expression. These are individuals.
Right.
And these individuals do not have to take abuse from keyboard warriors in their mom's basement, who are probably way older than 13, by the way, but they're sitting in their mom's basement abusing these soldiers' character, and those soldiers don't have to listen to it. They are not the government. They are people. And it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous to me.
Right.
I have actually been watching. I was never a big esports guy, but I'm a big fan of Barstool Sports, and one of the guys there has been playing NCAA football, and he plays online. He streams it on Twitch, and the funniest part is he's playing this video game like he's created an identity, Coach Doug's, and he's talking about it and everything. And he's trying to keep quiet when he scores a touchdown and stuff because he's got a little kid. But there's this one guy whose name is Poopy Stinks. And Poopy Stinks keeps chirping at Coach Doug's. And he's like, you stink. You need to find a real job. And, you know, there's always so much of that you could take. But, like, every time he scores a touchdown, he's like, take that, Poopy Stinks. Like, it's a real thing. And I can just fathom what these Army guys are like. Oh, dude, it's this guy chirping me about Abu Ghraib again. And you can't block him. That's insanity to me. I'm absolutely flummoxed by the story.
Especially on the platform specifically, when you have everything set up, there's a lot of voiceover, and like if you're in a group, like if you're in a group play, right, and you're on teams and stuff, and you got somebody who's just like borderline harassing you or asking you questions that you've already said, like, hey, I don't know the answer to, but hey, you can go check out FOIA newsroom stuff, or you can go check out these resources. And then they just keep pestering you. It's just at one point, yeah. Like I wouldn't tolerate that. That'd be too much.
There was a specific quote from the Army Times, and I did want to read it because it says, the Army encourages those who are genuinely concerned about war crimes to use FOIA reading rooms, elected representatives, and public forums with military leaders to engage in dialogue about war crimes, Ferguson said. And here's my thing. I would highly doubt that there's even 1% of those people asking about war crimes who actually care at all about war crimes. They're just people being annoying. That's all it is. It's not, there's no good faith effort. Like if you want to dig up dirt on crimes that happened at Abu Ghraib, your first stop is not going to be, let me see what's going on Twitch. Oh, here's a guy playing Fortnite who wasn't even born back then. Let's ask him about it. Insanity.
It is. It's e-sanity.
Insanity. I like that. It's clever.
Jeff, we'll go to you on the next story, which for those of you who are watching on YouTube, I will have some visual that I'll be showing of this too. But Jeff, tell us a little bit about the story on CNN that I love so much.
All right, so I've always thought of CNN as like the TLDR of news that you just don't get a lot, but this is a long article, so I'm gonna refer to it a lot because I don't want to get things wrong. But there's this we hear a lot about different units in especially like lately it's been black male units, and interestingly this is about male, but it's the postal mail, and it's a women's unit that was they were brought in because there was such a backlog of mail in World War II. And as they talk about, there's no TV, there's no like the mail was the lifeline for those warriors in World War II, and they were the 6,888. Are there that many units in the Army?
That was part of my first question. Like, how does that roll off the tongue? Like, you're the 6,888th Central Postal Directory Battalion.
And right, and there was a backlog of millions.
Yeah.
And so this was the first time that these black women soldiers were allowed in, and they were segregated, obviously, and they went over there, and it was really cognizant for them that they had to perform well. So they served about a year over there, and they did 3 shifts a day. I believe like 64,000 pieces of mail per shift, and they almost halved the time that was allotted for it and accomplished their mission. And when they came home, they didn't get the ticker tape. There were no bands playing. They just said they just kind of went home. And there's kind of a movement now, and I might write a resolution, if one doesn't already exist, to get that unit an award, that a congressional something.
Congressional gold medal, and it does not exist yet, because I actually have been looking at all the congressional gold medal ones, and to be perfectly frank, I had never heard of the Central Postal Directory. I mean, everyone's heard about the famous Red Tails, which maybe Washington's sports team will become here shortly, but everybody knows about the Tuskegee Airmen. There's, I guess, a lot of people, I don't know if you're aware of it, but there were units of black men who landed on D-Day, not as part of an infantry unit or anything else, but they came off the boats and they had to drag the blimps that stopped close airplanes from flying over the troops. They had these blimps that they would carry on chains up onto the beach, and it would keep the planes from strafing the beach. Kind of a crazy story if you get a chance to look that one up. But with these black female soldiers, for those of you on YouTube, I did want to show this picture in here, which is
there you go.
Lovely and gracious Miss Indiana Hunt Martin. And she is pictured in this CNN article wearing her American Legion cap from the Department of New York. We did look it up, and she has been a member for something like 27 years, I want to say. It's a great story. Jeff is absolutely right. It is a long story, but it is very interesting, especially if you're into history. I commend its reading to you. Ashley?
I'm kind of hoping somebody makes a movie of this, to be honest. The way that the work that they did, and that they couldn't, it was poorly lit because they were still bombing.
Yeah.
So they couldn't have brightly lit rooms, and they're sorting mail. I just, in the way that they they were in England, and the English people were asking them, why are you guys so separated? And they couldn't give them a real answer. So in many ways, the United States was lagging behind the rest of the world, especially with segregation in the military. I think it's really strange. Sorry, Ashley. I usurped you, as Michigan does to Ohio often.
Whatever.
Ashley, what did you think about this story?
So this story specifically, I've shared this through Women's History Month. It's been a part of I believe that there is some sort of documentary out there right now that's just had some viewings, if I'm not mistaken. I'm looking forward to seeing this viewing of this historical context behind this, because you're absolutely right. Like, we've heard of Red Tails, Tuskegee Airmen, and unfortunately a lot of women have fallen through the cracks when it comes to the historical pieces and parts of both World War I and World War II. I know we've talked about not code breaker. Was it not code breakers, but women veterans.
Yeah,
I can't think of top
the
of my
people
head.
that did the Enigma thing.
That partnered with AT&T. It's like vet coded
Oh,
vets.
the Hello Girls.
Hello Girls. Thank you. Gosh, I was like, I kept trying to put like vet codes out there, and I'm just like, they definitely were women in STEM and tech for the monumental achievements that they had, but we didn't hear about those until like we've started digging more into some of the more recent policy changes where women have been expanded into these different roles, and now people are like, oh, maybe we should take a look back and really discover the roots. And I think this is a great case, specifically recognizing Black women veterans who stepped up and were providing a pivotal service to so many GIs, both men and women, who were overseas during wartime that were wanting to receive mail. And I mean, there are incidences where, of course, they've taken great pride in their positions and their work. And I believe that there is a young lady that was it? I think it was Major Adams. I think her first name was Charity, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
But she was the commander of that battalion, and she ran a really tight shift based on the information that I have read about her. And a phenomenal woman. Definitely somebody else to check out from a historical standpoint of women in leadership when she wasn't supposed to be in leadership, which is bizarre because it just seems, again, like an enigma in itself. But it's a great story, and I highly recommend folks
don't
check
forget,
it out.
she was also the first Black woman promoted to lieutenant colonel,
Oh,
and that was after she told her commanding officer, who said, "I'm going to send a white first lieutenant." She's telling a major this to show you how to run things, and she told her commanding officer, "Over my dead body, sir." If that is not a trailer for a movie, I don't know what is.
Yes.
That definitely needs to be a movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
I am total support.
If people cheered when the dog got away in Independence Day, can you imagine her saying "over my dead body" to her commander?
Yes.
Like, that's a pretty good moment.
It's the equivalent of not today.
Yeah.
But yeah, very, very awesome story. I love promoting, women vets, especially our women vets of history, because it opens up the contextual doors to others understanding the roles that women have played, and that we have been an 100% volunteer force since the day this country was stood up. So it's important. It's important that we remember and honor and take those lessons learned and move forward and continue to push women veterans who are trailblazing. On a total side note, there is I can't, her name is escaping me. I'll have to think about it, but let me come back to it. Let me find it really quick.
You're gonna re-side note?
Specifically for the Army Reserves. I just shared a story today. Hold on, I'm gonna pull it up really quick. It's very important.
Let me just go while she's looking. I did want to say that this story has a pretty interesting statistic here. There are 9,400 Americans who are buried at the Normandy American Cemetery. Of those, 4 are women, and 3 of those 4 women are African American. So remember, if you would, PFC Mary J. Barlow, PFC Mary H. Blankston, and Sergeant Dolores M. Brown, who gave the ultimate sacrifice and are buried next to their brothers and sister there in Normandy Cemetery. So
awesome.
Keep them in mind. Ashley,
I found it. So Jody Daniels, she has just been cleared to take command for the first time in a 112-year history of the United States Army Reserve Command. She will be promoted to Lieutenant General at the end of July. Daniels is the latest woman to break into the military senior ranks, which have historically been dominated by men. Fewer than 1 in 4 admirals and generals are women. Her background was an intelligence officer. Daniel was deployed to Iraq and holds a doctorate degree in computer science, right? So another phenomenal lady in tech, right? So as a soldier, Daniel served as the director of intelligence when General David Petraeus ran the training command for the Iraqi security forces. So as a civilian, Daniels works at Lockheed Martin in the Advanced Technology Laboratories, where she focused there on spoken language and artificial intelligence. So this is a super high-speed woman who is about to take over. And fun fact about the Army Reserve, 1 in 5 Army Reserve soldiers are women, and the highest of any military component. And a lot of people don't realize that both the National Guard and the reserves in a combined element, they make up 19%, and women make up 19% of those components, which is greater than what the current active duty is. And that's just for Army, right? But very, very cool things. So there's my soap. I'm off my box.
There you go. All right, we are going to go to mostly rapid fire here. I do have this quick story, and I want to get Jeff's opinion so I can tell him why it's wrong. But it's a story from the Daily Mail, which, if you're aware of what the Daily Mail is in England, you can take this story with a heaping mountain of salt. But it's entitled Alien Abduction. Mysterious giant hangar spotted at Area 51 3 months ago has disappeared. New aerial pictures reveal. And it's a story of this pilot named Gabriel Ziefman. I hope I'm pronouncing that. He flew his Cessna 150 over the Nevada Test and Training Range. He had actually called and got a flight path that was bordering on where he could go near Area 51. And, of course, he started taking pictures out his window. And you'll have to look at the pictures on the Daily Mail, but he went by 1 week and there were pictures of a huge hangar. And then he went by the following week. The hangar is gone. Jeff, do they walk among us?
Yes, they do, and they're called Photoshop artists. And they need to be stopped, and we need to investigate this and probably send our toughest agents to figure out what their magic is.
Ashley?
I'm doing the little slidey thing on the article, and I'm like, whoa.
Yes.
Oh. Yeah, it looks a little suspicious.
See, the thing is, it's like I talked about the show that I watch, What on Earth, which has got satellite images, and then they'll show a river running red, and they'll be like, is it a sea of blood taking over the Ukraine? Is it, has some mysterious person? And then it's like, they'll do 20 minutes, and then they'll find out, no, it's just iron ore that's leaking from this mine shaft. Like, I gotta be honest, when I looked at the pictures, it looks to me like it was a canvas roof over some sort of like awning type thing, and they
like
took
a big
it
JP,
down.
like a big what do they call
Yeah,
JP mediums?
it really looks significantly less like something an alien would do, and something more like about 50 workers had put up some sort of tent for, I mean, maybe they had like a Lollapalooza at Area 51 featuring like E.T. or whatever. I don't know what they were doing, but to me, it's not as if this thing disappeared into another. But Jeff's theory of Photoshop, I'm not putting that. Actually, Jeff's going to get a point on this one. He may actually be correct for the first time in history. So if everyone could march that down. Going further into the rapid fire, though, Jeff, the Marine Corps Marathon has been canceled. Is this a sign that the Marine Corps is just getting soft?
No, it's a sign that the Marine Corps is worried about civilians who make up most of that run. We can't force them to be Marines. We can't force them to go through boot camp, get the Eagle Globe and anchor, and to adapt, improvise, and overcome any obstacle that may come up in their lives. But we can inspire them. So I hope that they're going to train for next year's Marine Corps Marathon.
It's super unfortunate, and I don't mean to be glib about it, but the Marine Corps Marathon is a very big thing. To the people that run it, it is a very big thing. Most people do it to honor someone they've lost. It raises a lot of money. It's really unfortunate. But the only thing I can envision that's worse than running a marathon would be running a marathon with a mask on, which would be horrific. So this is very unfortunate. Ashley, what did you think on this one?
Honestly, it's for the better, for the safety, because you're absolutely right. There's going to be a lot of folks that are gathering in large groups that some will want to wear a mask, some will not want to wear a mask, and I just see it as a big test tube, and we don't need that. Yeah. So keep it separate, keep it clean. So.
All right. Well, the second one was Stars and Stripes has an article here about retired Master Sgt. David Royer, Fort Leavenworth, Kansas, who saved countless lives by driving his vehicle into a gunman as this guy was shooting people on a busy bridge near Leavenworth, Kansas. And I mean, the story is great in and of itself, and this guy does look like he's tougher than Woodpecker Lips. This guy looks like a stud. But what I especially liked is this retired Master Sergeant only joined the Army in 2005. That guy's moving through the ranks pretty quickly. Like that, he's retired and he went in 2005. And a shout out, because I went and actually researched this, but when he got out of the military, he went to work for the Kansas City Cattle Company, which is also a veteran-owned business. The guy who runs it is a member, or was a member of the 75th Rangers, and his brother-in-law is buried there, and they give a significant portion of their money from the Kansas City Cattle Company. So I don't know if you are in the market for a good slab of beef, I highly encourage you to go to the Kansas City Cattle Company, where retired Master Sergeant David Royer works. But Jeff, what did you think about this one?
I think I'm in the market for. I'm always in the market for a big slab of meat for my little balcony grill out there. So that's my huge takeaway from there. And I think Ashley's giggling like someone going through puberty.
I feel like I'm just doing giggling.
There may be an internal conversation going on in Ashley's head right now. Let's hear more about that.
First of all, this guy is awesome. Okay, it reminds me of some Fast and Furious stuff where he's just like, I'm just gonna take action and forget about any formidable damage to my vehicle. I'm just gonna take this guy out. Like, there's some all of that.
Do you know how quick he had to make that decision?
Yeah, that's a quick decision. Like, for anyone who's ever done this, like, I mean,
it's great to think, well, he just drove his car and you didn't, but he had split second to make that decision that, like, okay, our best chance here is if I run this guy over.
Just completely divert, like going right over the grass, whatever the case may be. Like, things we never fathomed as like a mere private, God forbid, right? This guy just drove his car right into someone. So very movie quality, like, I suppose, but very impressive background, like you said, to be a Master Sergeant and start in 2005. Like, he's cruising. Like, he obviously he was doing something right. So
his foot found the gas pedal and he gunned it.
Yeah,
gunned it.
Yep, I said it.
Just like,
that's pretty bad.
I wonder if he honked the horn too. Just be like laying on the horn,
right?
Screaming obscenities, America! Like, let's go. Not today, right?
No, not today. Not even a little bit. All right, we're going to go with one last story here, and that's for the Navy with Bonhomme Richard, which, if you have been watching the news, this is a big ship, and the fire went on for 5 days. All right, hopefully everyone's seen the thing, but there were 85 soldiers that were living on the Bonhomme Richard when the fire broke out, and roughly 165 of the ship's 1,000-person crew were on board at the time that it started to burn. The one thing that I did like, I think that it's crazy that there was a fire on board a ship for 5 days. That just seems insane to me. And it wasn't munitions or anything cooking off, which is what we had initially thought. But the Navy, in proper fashion, is turning a negative into a positive, and they are specifically the Chief of Naval Operations singled out one sailor who was unnamed. But I did want to read this part. One aviation boatswain's mate, I don't know what that's like your MPs, right? I think. Anyway, went back into the ship to fight the fire at least 7 times. Quote, she was very proud of what she did and the teamwork that was involved with these small teams that were going in to fight the fire. It's an environment when you can really only see 2 feet in front of you. There was no lighting. It was deep, heavy smoke. If anyone has any doubts about this generation of sailors, soldiers, airmen, and Marines, at least to me, it should be quickly put to rest by the heroic and courageous action of these sailors and the federal firefighters over the past 5 days. Amen to the CNO. That is outstanding, and it takes, she and the Master Sergeant should, I don't know, create superhuman kids or something. That is an awesome story. Who goes into a fire 7 times? Nuts. No, Jeff, what do you got on this one?
I would not. I don't think that I would do that, to be honest. And that's, the heroism there is off the charts to me. And I feel like we're going to be hearing more about the characters of this of this story because the battle was huge, and I don't think the firefighting units of the military get enough
Right.
focus, and that is some of the most dangerous stuff. Like, it is dangerous to go into a vessel that is, compartmentalized and put yourself in those compartments with fire to extinguish it. So I hope that they are up for some huge awards. I tip my glass to all of those people involved.
Yep. Ashley?
I have to concur on this one. It's impressive, and I hope that these folks that are taking this action to make sure that everyone else is safe and securely, put out the fire, we be rewarded. That's all I got. I concur.
From a PR standpoint, I mean, it's obviously tragic. I mean, this is going to cost millions and millions of dollars, but
Yeah.
I do like that the Navy, rather than pointing out people who are screwing up or someone, we fought all this time about the one captain who was fired for the coronavirus thing and everything else. We're actually, although she's not named yet, my guess is it's going to come out who this person is, and I can't wait to see her. I can't wait to hear what she has to say, and absolutely applaud it. So we will go to our shout outs. Jeff, what do you got for a shout out?
My shout out today is to not just it's my new members of my post. We did our first virtual induction. I was super excited about that. We recorded it because Zoom is Zoom, and it was really awesome, and it was a great bunch of new people. And I know there's a lot of posts out there doing some really fun and creative ways of getting through that. So hopefully I will hear more stories, and I can give shout outs to people other than the amazing Hollywood Post 43. So if your post is doing something awesome, please comment or let us know somehow, because I'd love to give them a shout out as well.
Ashley.
I'm trying to think. Let's see. Who do we give a shout out to? Oh wow, dude! I know. Can we cue in music? I'm pretty drawing a blank.
I will go to.
You want me to shout
then.
out and give praise to you, Jeff? What kind of show is this? Oh my god!
That nobody's gonna be able to praise.
I
Jeff.
will just give a broad, large shout out to. Where do I want to go with this? Okay, so I'm going to give a shout out to all the folks across the country, and for those that just gathered in Washington, D.C. for the Justice for Vanessa rallies, if you shall, protests, and just the general awareness that took place yesterday and has been taking place across the country. So I want to say thank you to all those advocates that are all everywhere that are doing their part, and they're also raising different cases and different circumstances of other soldiers that we've lost, airmen, etc., Marines, etc. But I just want to give a shout out to those advocates out there that are hard charging this issue. and want to thank them for their efforts.
Awesome. And my shout out is to American Legion Post. And I got to get the post number here. I believe it's post number 160. Post 160 in Adams, Massachusetts, which is in the lovely and scenic Berkshire County, where I am from. Adams is right up there in the corner. If you picture Massachusetts, it's right up next to Vermont and right next to New York. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful country. But this post, and again, it was post 160 in Adams, Massachusetts, made up banners for the entire main street of the downtown, featuring service members who had given the ultimate sacrifice dating back to the Civil War. That is a spectacular thing. I'm a huge fan of this wherever I see it. I'm also a fan of like any sort of historical marker, so I stop and read them all. And if I were traveling through Adams, Massachusetts, which is very unlikely because it's kind of off the beaten path a little bit, but if I were, I would stop and read every single one of these. But I applaud you. I thank you to Adams, Massachusetts, American Legion Post 160. And apparently this came from a local historian and legionnaire named John Bordeaux, I believe is his name. John, thank you for all you do. Thank everyone for all they do. Ashley, did you have something else you were going to throw in there?
No, I was gonna say me too. I read all the little like the markers and stuff. There's
All right.
tons of them here in DC, and I'll just stop my bike, and sometimes hubby will be way ahead of me, and I have stopped, and I'm reading the front and back facing of the historical markers, and he'll like stop. He's like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "This is really cool. Did you know about this?" And he's just like, "No," and I'm like, "Now you do."
Jeff, just in closing, what was the final count on hubbies today?
We're somewhere in the 5 or 6 range.
5 or 6.
Yeah.
Somewhere like that.
We've had 2 guest appearances from my dogs too.
Nice.
But so 2 guest appearances, a few my hubbies. We have 0. My background is, but we got a couple. What was the other bingo thing?
We've got hubby. We've got background thing. We've got the dogs. We could probably 2 spaces. One could be dedicated to Elliot. One can be dedicated to Carmen, because they both make separate appearances, and that would be kind of cool if they both made an appearance.
Do you notice how they get named?
The free
They don't
spaces.
get my dog.
The free
They don't get my
spaces
dog.
is going to be one of us going over 4 minutes on a rapid fire answer, which is guaranteed.
Did you see?
All of
Did
us.
you see what super producer? Did you see what super producer just said?
Yeah, I just
No,
saw what super producer just said. Thanks, Holly.
She's
Please.
made a full bingo that everyone can download
Yes.
next week.
And our listeners can play either, you know.
listeners out
we
there is
do
another one.
CV,
And I-
Jeff, and Ashley. We do rotations, and people, and then we could do a little get. Oh, producer Holly. We
don't-
got to get our tchotchkes in order.
Yeah, well, we're going to give away Xboxes, and we're not going to block people, unlike the Army.
Take
I'm
information.
joking. I am not
good
obligating us to
callback.
giving
Good.
away Xboxes.
Yeah, way to,
Hey,
way to bring it full
however,
circle.
I did want to, however, do a big shout out to our 3 countries of note this week. We had Iran, Colombia, and the Ukraine coming in strong in Iran, Colombia, and the Ukraine, and Japan as well. We do have Japan. Doesn't strike me as all that absurd because they're probably listening at one of the Navy bases, but hey, wherever you're listening to us, thank you. If you listen to this, go and rate us on any of the places where you download podcasts. If you're on YouTube, go and leave us some comments. I realize I'm sitting really weird today. I don't know why that is. I'm just looking at the video now, and I kind of look, well...
Real chill. Real chill
Yeah,
TV.
I look like I'm riding through the hood in my, El Camino or something. I don't know what I'm doing. But anyway, thank you. Again, make sure that you go and you like us. Spread the word. We want to get those... we want to get those views up. We want to get more people listening to us. And more than anything, we want to hear what you guys have to say. So thank you for listening to us, and we will see you guys next week-ish. Bye.
Bye.